Hello, everybody. Welcome to our May edition of TUS Talks. It's a monthly podcast which takes a deep dive into the air travel scene at Southern Arizona's major airport, Tucson International Airport. I'm Bill Buckmaster, two-state Hall of Fame broadcaster, joined by our friend Brian Kidd. Brian is the Deputy Chief of Strategic Marketing and Air Service Development for the Tucson Airport Authority. That authority oversees the operations here at Tucson International Airport, and Ryan Field, the area's private aviation facility. Brian, there's never a shortage of things to talk about in the aviation industry.
It's never just a boring month, is it?
No, it isn't. And this one, as of this taping, we have one less low-cost carrier. And when I say one less, we're down now to basically one or two low-cost carriers, as Spirit Airlines is now sidelined.
Right. They tried to merge with JetBlue a few years ago. The prior administration did not really, just the legal system. What it boils down to is whether a judge wants to approve it or not. They did not. Maybe that was a blessing in disguise for JetBlue because they're still around. If they had taken on Spirit, they may have been going down as well. But Spirit's about 2% of the U.S. market, which doesn't sound like much, but on the East Coast and in the Caribbean, they did have a bigger presence there. You see some carriers scrambling to fill in the gaps of what they think would be profitable right now, although with fuel at $4 to $4.50 a gallon, there's not that much that's actually profitable. But JetBlue is trying to fill in Fort Lauderdale, which was a bigger operation for Spirit. They see that as sort of their last-ditch effort to find something that will work as a hub for them. So we'll see if JetBlue can find a path forward to profitability. Frontier, still a pure ULCC. They're struggling. They were here. They have taken a break for the summer. We'll see if they come back. It's a tough environment to find something that's going to be profitable.
Then you have Allegiant, which has found some kind of they found a niche. They go point to point.
Right, and they stay away from competition. Almost 90% of the routes have no competition on them, and they fly not just from small cities to resorts anymore. They have saturated Florida. They don't do too much in the West either, although Mesa is a hub for them. Unfortunately, we do lose some business to them because they fly to some destinations nonstop that even out of Phoenix you can't get to, and it's at a lower price point. So they do fill a niche that nobody else has been able to really fill, and they're doing okay at it. They're merging with Sun Country.
Brian,
just got approved.
Let's talk about May. This is the transition now as we get into summer travel, and this might be a summer travel season like we have not seen before, because you have European airlines and airports over in Europe and even Asia saying they could run out of fuel as the Iran conflict drags on. Luckily, and I don't think there's enough publicity about this, that our domestic carriers are not impacted by oil going through the Straits of Hormuz.
That's right. The price points are set on the world market, but we're not in a supply issue crisis the way Europe and Asia would be if this continues. Those carriers are scrambling to make sure they have supplies, and in fact, Lufthansa and some others are cutting back just to make sure that really cutting back on these marginal routes to make sure that they don't literally run out of supply, which we're not in that. Not in the situation here. We may not be happy about the pricing, but we're not in a supply crisis. Fares have come up, as we expected, as we talked about.
Mm-hmm. As we talked about last month, right. Fares have come up. But we may not have the fuel shortage issue, but we do have airlines in this country, based in this country, are cutting back on capacity. And this is where it's so important for people, if you're thinking about flying between, if you're trying to choose between TUS, Tucson, or Phoenix, please choose Tucson, because this is when airlines are looking like, well, should we cut back some routes?
Right. It's easier to cut a frequency at a larger airport, but the problem is even cutting one here makes a difference. So we don't have that much to spare in the summer, and the airlines know that we're pretty much at a minimum level already. However, you can make a difference here. You will just be a blip on the radar at Phoenix, but here, I mean, it may sound a little hokey, but every passenger matters here. The airlines, we don't have 665 departures a day the way Phoenix does. We have in the summer about 50. So you do make a difference when you come here, and we're trying to make it easier this summer. We have a parking promotion going from May 20th through the end of July. You can go on our website and look at it. Up to 7 days free parking in the economy uncovered lot. However, can't beat free, right?
Right.
So you can just come on down here. You don't even have to deal with Uber or anything. Just go online, make the reservation in the parking system for your dates of travel. And we're trying to give, make it a little more affordable for to tip the scales. You don't have to go to Phoenix, spend the money on parking, which is twice as much or more. Don't have to spend the money on gas. Don't have to put the wear and tear on your vehicle. Trying to make the decision easy.
And there's no reason to fly to Phoenix if you're flying now Southwest. Southwest has made it really easy for the Tucson air traveler because now you've got really all sorts of, I was just checking their website yesterday. You can connect in now Tucson, Denver, you can go Tucson, Las Vegas, which they've had, but what's new recently is Tucson, Phoenix make a connection. So you've got really 3 opportunities there. And Southwest may not consider itself a low-cost carrier, but they are very competitive still.
They have a broader schedule than anything. In fact, if you're going to the West Coast, I think there are even connections that would hit San Diego and LAX.
Oh yeah, and I did leave out the West Coast. Of course, Southwest flies nonstop to Los Angeles, and they've still got the flight over to San Diego. San Diego, that's something I wanted to ask you about. For summer, for Tucsonans, San Diego is Southern Arizonans' playground. You would think there would be more capacity over to San Diego.
It is a sore subject, Bill. I've been working with Alaska to see if they'll be willing to take on Southwest on that one, because San Diego is now a hub for them too. So there is a battle going on at San Diego, and unfortunately Tucson is one of the few markets where they are not battling each other. Southwest has kept enough capacity in this market to sort of scare off Alaska, if you will. That doesn't mean that's going to last forever. Southwest prices it at a point where maybe people decide to drive, so it makes the market look smaller than it really is. But on the other hand, if fares are high enough, it's a short haul by air.
Yeah.
It's a long drive across the desert if not by air.
Yeah.
especially in the summer, right?
Right.
But Alaska should see that eventually that'll have to come to the top in terms of opportunities that are still out there. Now, what they chose to do this summer, which I'm happy that they're doing, is they're extending Portland PDX through the summer, and that opens up a lot of itineraries. If you don't want to connect to Seattle, there's a lot that they run through Portland now.
And we're personally going to take advantage of that the first week in August, fly nonstop on Alaska into PDX, Portland, rent a car, and go up to the national park, Olympic National Park, see the rainforest, and turn the car in Seattle. So not an issue at all with Alaska, very convenient, and that's a nice little getaway from the summer heat.
For sure. That will not likely be hot over there, Bill. That's a good option.
No.
So we're still hopeful that we can get Alaska to consider that as another short haul destination. And they actually have a pretty big network out of San Diego, where if you're going to a kind of an out-of-way place like Monterey or
Fresno,
Santa Rosa, Fresno, yes.
And the Mexico connections would be terrific for Tucsonans. if you were going to Cabo or Puerto Vallarta, even Mexico City, nonstop Alaska to San Diego, make a connection, and there you go. So it opens up a lot of doors.
It sure would, because really our only competition for some of those right now is American and Southwest via Phoenix, and of course we'd rather have the customer depart from TUS than do that. But as it stands now, that's what, for better or worse, the majority of people are doing that very thing that we don't want them to do. But I mean, it's a circular situation. The more options that we can provide, the easier it is to make the choice to use TUS.
And making the choice for TUS is even more important than getting in a hot car and driving in a hot car up to Phoenix. And you know, all it takes is one accident on I-10 and you may miss your flight going up to Phoenix.
Yeah, and there went all of your supposed advantage of taking the non-stop is then gone by the boards. And of course I get testimonials from people saying that they have to go up to Phoenix the night before to make sure that, I mean, are you really going to leave your house at 3 in the morning to catch a flight? That's cost. Are you factoring that into your, I mean, it's not I sort of advocate for that if you're going to do it. However, that's another cost that you've just put on yourself. You've got lodging and meals and so we got to factor all that in when if you're and everybody's trying to save a little money right now because fuel's high and it can cramp the budgets a little bit. But when you're looking at that summer trip, make sure you're taking everything into account.
We're talking with Brian Kidd. Brian is the Deputy Chief of Strategic Marketing and Air Service Development for the Tucson Airport Authority, which oversees the operations here at Tucson International Airport. The airport's looking really good, and I want to touch on the fact that we've got there was a make-do, you did an overhaul, chairs, carpeting, the whole situation looks better here.
For sure. Lighting, we put all LED in. It's brightened up the whole. It just does. It feels bright now. When even out in the concourses, we need to make this facility last for another good number of years because we're not in position to go for a complete overhaul of the concourses until we get this runway project that you see out the door complete, and then we need to see some growth too because right now we're able to they're not new but they do the job and they're functional, and you don't need to get here 3 hours before your flight or 2 hours before your flight or even unless you really are concerned. You really don't need to. You're not going to be running into lines of security. You're not going to be running into lines in the parking lot or anywhere.
And even during the shutdown and of course the TSA people, bless their heart, continued to work, and there were never really long lines here at TUS, and that now hopefully is behind us. And going through security here at Tucson is a breeze compared to what can happen up at Sky Harbor, up in Phoenix.
Just another thing you don't need to factor in. I mean, I know people want to be safe, but we were having people getting here almost too early for some of that. We were trying to calm down the news teams to say, there's really no story here.
Right.
I know you want to manufacture.
You better go up to Phoenix or have the
if you
Phoenix
want to look
people.
at another airport, go right ahead, but there's nothing to see here.
And the concessions, how are they looking? Do you have things the way you want them on our two concourses?
It's, the irony is it's almost a more pleasant experience pre-security. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you might as well just take your time. You can see that there's no line. Relax out before security checkpoint. I mean, historically there's always the urge to try to get through security and get to your gate, and then everybody's calm. And
there's a delightful little lounge between kind of the two concourses before you go through security. There's wonderful rotating artwork on the walls. There's very comfortable lounge chairs, and there's no need to rush through security.
Right. We've toyed around with, I've toyed around with trying to do a promotion. Now the concessionaires wouldn't be super happy about this because they depend on people. It's called dwell time in the industry, but in all honesty, you could save yourself whatever time that you think you're saving with your nonstop by shaving. You don't need to get here 2 hours in advance. Even if you have bags, you're not going to be in a situation where that's going to be an issue. So, I mean, I know people get nervous about cutting it close, but you see business people coming through here literally 20 to 30 minutes before the flight, at least rolling right through security in the afternoon and 0 wait time and being at their gate. And I would say about 3 to 4 minutes after they've actually set foot in the building, and that's what we have to offer. So I'm not saying put yourself in a stressful situation, but you really don't need to be here very early.
Going back to Alaska Airlines, their merger is now pretty much, it's still a work in progress with Alaska and Hawaiian Airlines, the merger there. But they have really redone everything with their website. They're looking to the future. They're going now into the long haul flights to Asia, and they're going to Europe. They've opened up now Seattle to Rome, and there's some other European cities coming on board. I think that is a golden opportunity for TUS.
In fact, one of our consultants has often said that Alaska could really build up TUS. I don't know if I believe them quite yet, but they're at least willing to look outside the box. They've looked at TUS for certain opportunities as sort of underserved, or I wouldn't say neglected, but not. We sort of fly under the radar, and they are going to take advantage of that at some point. They are definitely on track to be one of the top 5 airlines in the U.S. They're number 5, but they're growing. If you look at the year over year, they're on an upward trajectory. They are winning the battle at Seattle.
Sure. With Delta, they've been locked. Their horns have been locked with Delta now for several years.
And Delta's basically, by all accounts, losing money to stick it out. So at some point, they're going to have to make a decision: do we continue to fight Alaska on their home turf? But Alaska's trying to diversify, east and west, long hauls. I just said, even East Coast. They don't have much. They are flying a lot in the middle of the country to Seattle, but they are looking for other opportunities that the normal hub and spoke carriers would not be taking, and that puts them in conflict with Southwest in some places. But you know what? They think they're not afraid of that, and they're having some battles on the West Coast too, between Alaska and Southwest. But right now, there's enough revenue for everyone to coexist. But Alaska's growing for sure.
Has American had any cutbacks, or are they pretty much, their schedule looks pretty good for Tucson?
So they took us down a little bit over, unnecessarily in my opinion, as I let them know, last winter. They have added back. We were staying at two daily to O'Hare through the summer, which is great. DFW is 5 or 6 depending on the season, which is typical. We'd like them to get back to 7, but they've kind of changed their, speaking of connections and time and so forth, they've changed their scheduling approach at DFW such that they're trying not to come up with these very tight connections. They're trying to give everybody a little more time, which I think is a good idea. I'd take an hour or hour and 10-minute connection better than a 40-minute connection.
And I wish they would extend that to Tucson, Phoenix, and then Phoenix. Some of these connections are so unrealistic.
Too tight.
20 minutes.
The only thing I can say is, at least if
you get in early, if you're flying, generally, if you're flying Tucson to Phoenix on American, you'll get in a little early, but still just seeing that 20 minutes makes me very nervous.
It is surprising that they continue to sell those, but of course I want them to show as many opportunities as they can to and from Tucson, but the only thing I can say is at least they are keeping a lot of frequency in that market. So even if you miss the connection here for some reason, there's going to be another one in about an hour or so. So they keep a lot of frequency in there now, which does help. And also if something goes wrong, they can try to route you over DFW. I mean, there are some options on American. They're not going anywhere. Of course, they're our largest carrier, and I think they saw that they cut back a little too much. And our performance is back above the mean, so I'm not too concerned about them now. they got a little excited. I think they were still trying to figure out what was going on here based on all the migrant activity we had back in 24, and they got sort of behind
Which
the curve.
skewed the numbers.
They got behind the curve,
Yeah.
and even though I explained to them what happened, they were seeing these large swings in performance, and I think they were trying to always catch up.
Yeah.
But now they see things are back to normal, and they're trying to get back to normal. But so far, yeah, we're doing okay with them, and we haven't seen any pets from them here for the summer.
All right, start thinking about booking your summer travel, and the fares there's been an increase for sure because of the fuel situation. You might want to lock in some fares here for summer.
And they're doing it because people are willing to pay for it. So people are still willing to pay for experiences. They're still willing to travel. That's not one of the things that's being sacrificed, at least at the upper end of the spectrum now. Spirit, the ULCC is still a gap. The customers that were flying Frontier and Spirit and Allegiant they may be feeling it more than the people flying the other carriers. So, but right now, people are still willing to pay for that travel, and so the airlines are able to recoup some of those additional costs, which is good overall for the industry.
And the schedule is up through March of 2027, believe it or not. And I've traditionally I'll book a long time in advance, and some people say, well, you should wait 6 months. But believe it or not, I do pretty well by booking far in advance.
Especially at TUS, you're not going to see wild swings.
No.
If you're going between two large cities, you do see more revenue management going on. But
And you can always go back and readjust once you have the reservation.
That's right.
All right, Brian Kidd, always a delight. Brian, the Deputy Chief of Strategic Marketing and Air Service Development here at Tucson International Airport, which is TUS, and this is TUS Talks. I'm Bill Buckmaster. We will catch up with everybody in June. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Bill.